Hello, my name is William Bradley, and today we're going to be talking about experiential learning. I did this experiential learning, which was required for my college major for engineering at the School of Baldwin Wallace. Many people have to do the experiential learning requirement as it relates to Baldwin Wallace. I'll put it up here on the screen right here so you can see the requirements. And the other thing is, I have other requirements as it relates to my major specifically for engineering, as you can see right here on the screen, and what requirements I had to do for this specific essay. And I also want to point out that this is a little bit of a disclaimer. Many of the facts and things that I am going to be discussing in this essay were a personal story that have happened to me, and everything that happened with this story is true to my recollection and thoughts and experience based on that. Even though you're not in my situation, this is how I'm perceiving it, and that at times my memory may not be 100% exactly of what happened, and maybe some of the names aren't specifically right of the events that followed during my essay. But this is the best of my recollection, and I've made some mistakes. To anybody also watching this video or other employers, I've made some mistakes in the past, but I am getting better. I'm not perfect. This was a learning process back when I was 18 as a freshman. And also, this experience has helped me change my college major and help set my life goals into what I am doing today. So without any further delay, I am going to start reading my essay. After accepting a STEM Advisors Challenge, fill out a scholarship application and write an essay to compete in the Ohio Department of Transportation ODOT Second Annual Civil Rights Transportation Symposium Scholarship Competition in 2018. I was named one of the scholarship recipients.
William Bradley III from Baldwin Wallace University. Congratulations.
After being named one of 3 winners, I was motivated to engage in an internship in civil engineering. I attended the scholarship ceremony in Columbus, Ohio. After the scholarship ceremony, I got a photograph and wanted to develop some professional contact. While networking, I introduced myself to the technical service administrator named Andrew Williams for ODOT, and I told him that I wanted to work for ODOT as a summer intern. When I talked to him, we chatted briefly about school and goals. He was impressed by my demeanor and gave me his contact information. I followed up by emailing him and landed an interview with a manager for a summer internship. By the summer of 2018, I met an ODOT manager via a 15-minute phone call interview, and he offered me an engineering internship at District 12 in Cleveland, Ohio. Since civil engineering is an area of interest for me, it was important for me to understand the work performed by civil engineers. As a learning outcome for this internship experience, I wanted to know about problems solved by engineers at ODOT. I wanted to know how to supervise projects, understand pavement, construct highways, learn about grading, drainage systems, and structures. I also wanted to understand the impact of new roads and how that would be of help to the community and what residents might think about the work as it impacted their daily lives. During the internship, I encountered several challenges. 2 of the major challenges I faced were time management and communication. In terms of time management, I needed to learn how to multitask to manage multiple projects assigned to me by other supervisors in order to meet established deadlines. A major communication challenge for me was writing effective email messages to managers in order to convey specific information about problems that needed to be solved. In addition, one of the setbacks of the internship included the realization that politics in the workplace is a very real force with which to reckon. For example, I ran into a problem with my ID badge, and I tried to resolve the issue on my own. I contacted the information technology department without involving my manager. I was able to resolve the problem only to find out that my manager felt that I went around him to resolve a problem that I did not realize required management intervention. I learned a valuable lesson to always go to your manager first, even if you think you can resolve the issue on your own. Doing so will, from an internal political standpoint, ensure that you're following the proper protocols and procedures. The internship experience helped train me on proper tasks and procedures to use, track, and inspect work performed by contractors. Some of the work I oversaw or was assigned involved widening and resurfacing projects, hazard elimination, guardrail installation, creating intersections, drainage facilities, forms and reinforcing steel concrete placement on structures, flexible and rigid pavement, assisting phytonomous plants, performed tests on concrete and soil, assisted in surveying, etc. In addition, I perform support functions including record keeping, maintaining accurate data of work performed, organizing materials, and compiling information to assist in report preparation. The engineering notebook is one of the tools interns should learn to use. The purpose of the engineering notebook is for writing down information related to a project job site to ensure that concerns or issues discussed are recorded for future follow-up or resolutions. Merely having the notebook handy and writing, it demonstrates professional and ethical conduct to workers and residents because it shows that an engineer is paying attention and documenting what is being said. One of my supervisors, Mark, wanted me to begin using the engineering notebook when we met with local residents at a city meeting involving one of my projects named the Opportunity Corridor. At the start of the meeting, he asked me to address the residents in response to a question asking who in the construction industry would be involved in the project and whether any interns were involved. I was given a microphone and I gave a general introduction about myself to the audience by telling them my name and explaining how I was involved with the project as an engineering intern, and I sat back down. Residents identified several complex engineering problems during the meeting. I wrote down the concerns in my engineering notebook to ensure that the information was recorded for review with my supervisor after the meeting. During the meeting, a local resident expressed a concern that he would be unable to get out of his driveway during construction because of the project created road closures in the area that would cause traffic to be rerouted, and this would cause additional traffic on the street. This concern was addressed by one of the engineers who told the residents the deadlines for completion of the project and specific dates when the construction crews would not be working. These deadlines and crew-specific work days would let the neighborhood know when the street would have less traffic for the residents to get out of their driveway and get to work or school on time. Approximately 3 weeks after the neighborhood meeting, I was able to use some of the information I recorded in my engineering notes when a local business owner flagged me down when I was watching an excavation in the neighborhood. The local business owner told me he wanted his driveway repaved because the construction crew excavating the sidewalk was close to his part of the driveway, which now had multiple cracks, and thought it should be repaved. I resolved this problem by communicating the issue to my other supervisor, Mike. I explained the problem and asked whether ODOT had extra concrete material. Mike explained this issue could be resolved if I could find a concrete truck that had extra concrete materials and if the work could be completed within budget. I had to determine whether any of the concrete trucks on the project had extra concrete materials left over after the sidewalk excavation project was completed. After the sidewalk was poured at the business owner's location, I spoke with the cement truck operator to ask whether there was any leftover concrete. The operator said yes. I asked if we were able to use the leftover concrete material to pave the business owner's driveway and if it would impact the budget at all. The operator said no. After getting approval from my supervisor, who obtained authorization from his manager, the concrete was poured and the local business owner had a new driveway. Without the information I had written in the engineering notebook, I would not have been able to resolve a complex problem like the one this local business owner had. Training sessions were common prior to being assigned a project. My supervisor Kevin and I had a meeting where he taught me and a new hire about guardrails. During the meeting, we reviewed information in ODOT manuals and in the project plans to learn strategies for applying engineering principles needed to build and inspect guardrails. The construction manual and specifications book by ODOT provides a great deal of information about guardrails. I learned that a highway guardrail is a safety barrier to help protect vehicles driven off the road from collision. Specifically, I learned that a W-beam guardrail is a kind of road crash barrier used for securing highway safety by preventing errant vehicles from sliding out of the roads and impacting the roadslide buildings or other objects. This type of guardrail is most commonly fixed on the side of the highways, docked areas, aisles, and especially on curves, slopes, to protect against run-off road collision. Not long after the training, I was assigned a guardrail project. My supervisor Kevin assigned me to drive out to Geauga County to meet with a contractor who was working on a guardrail project for ODOT. The guardrail that I would observe was similar to the one that I saw in the meeting plans that we discussed in the guardrail training. The project involved me meeting with a contractor to explain why I had been dispatched to the job site. My assignment was to measure the new guardrail, which was located on a Geauga County highway, to ensure that it was properly installed. Once I met the contractor, I shared with him the meeting project plans given by my supervisor Kevin. The contractor looked at the project plans and confirmed he precisely measured and installed the guardrail based in the layout of the project plan. The contractor told me that he was ready for inspection. I looked at the plans one more time and I inspected the W-beam guardrail and took measurements. After the inspection, I took photographs of the contractor's work and sent all the images to my supervisor via text messaging and left a voicemail for him to know that the guardrail work was complete and it looked fine. The measurements conform to the information I learned from the ODOT manuals and project plans. My supervisor documented the information in the ODOT records. In another training session, I learned how to determine the air content in concrete. Testing fresh concrete to determine the air content is important to see whether the concrete will be durable under freeze/thaw conditions. My supervisor Aaron instructed me on how to perform the popular ASTM C231 pressure method for air content determination, which measures the change in volume of concrete with a change in pressure. Following the training, Aaron called me to the job site where he said that we were going to perform the air content test on the concrete being poured that day. We conducted the test based on the ASTM C231 procedures.
Today we'd like to demonstrate how to find air content of concrete according to ASTM C231. The tools required for this test are a mallet, a syringe, a 5/8 inch diameter tamping rod with hemispherical ends, a strike-off plate or a strike-off bar, a scoop, and a pressure meter. Dampen the interior of the air pot. Place the concrete in the vessel in 3 equal layers by volume, moving the scoop around the perimeter. After filling it 1/3 by volume, rod the layer 25 times throughout its depth, without forcefully striking the bottom. Distribute the rods uniformly over the cross-section. Tap the outside of the vessel 10 to 15 times with a mallet to close the voids left by the tamping rod. Use a scoop to fill the second layer, 2/3 by volume. Rod the layer 25 times, making sure you penetrate the first layer by about 1 inch. Tap the outside of the vessel 10 to 15 times with a mallet to close the voids left by the tamping rod. For the final layer, add enough concrete so as to avoid overfilling. Rod the layer 25 times, making sure you penetrate the second layer about 1 inch. Distribute the rods uniformly over the cross-section. Tap the outside of the vessel 10 to 15 times with a mallet to close the voids left by the tapping rod. Place the strike-off plate on the vessel approximately 2/3. Use the strike-off plate to level the surface, and use a sawing motion to produce a smooth surface. Incline the plate and make several passes to produce a smooth surface. Thoroughly clean the rim of the vessel. Dampen the bottom cover of the air pot. Securely place it on top. Fasten the clamps. With the main air valve closed and both petcocks open, use a syringe to inject water through one petcock until the water emerges from the opposite side. Jar the meter gently until all the air is expelled. Close the bleeder valve and pump air into the air chamber until the hand on the dial gauge is on the initial pressure line. Lightly tap to stabilize the gauge. Close both petcocks. Open the main air valve between the air chamber and the air pot, then hit the sides of the air pot with the mallet. Lightly tap the pressure gauge to stabilize the reading. Record the results to the nearest 0.1%.
When the air content test was completed, I wrote down the results and gave them to Aaron to review. Overall, the air content test is essential for civil engineers to draw conclusions related to concrete durability. This type of testing is one of many engineers rely upon to gather and analyze and interpret data. The majority of my project tasks were completed independently. As a result of this internship, I realized I have engaged in a wide variety of duties related to the general study of engineering. Many of the major courses in my curriculum directly related to the internship, including the following: Introduction to Engineering, Introduction to Engineering 2, Engineering Graphics, General Physics Lab, General Physics 2, General Physics Lab 2. For my personal development, the internship provided me an opportunity to develop my leadership skills. Often, my supervisors placed me in a leadership role. One such example was the opportunity to manage a new summer intern. A few weeks later, after I began the internship, another intern came aboard. This role stretched me personally because I really had been on the job site for about a month when my manager asked me to take on this leadership role. I helped the intern with the completion of new employment forms and transported him to job site location. He and I worked on several projects together. While in this role, I helped the intern take proper measurements, perform concrete tests, and helped him with Excel calculations. As a result of this working relationship, I continue to stay in contact with the former intern, and I provide coaching advice to him at this present time. For example, he confided in me that he was unsuccessful at passing Calculus 1 and was concerned about calculations because he had to retake a class during the summer while working at ODA. I advised him not to be afraid and to ask for help from the professor. Additionally, I told him if I could pass the course, so could he. This past summer, he has successfully passed his differential equations class. I felt accomplished as a leader knowing that an intern I trained and encouraged had succeeded based on the advice that I had given him. Each of my supervisors required me to manage contractors to ensure they correctly performed their jobs and did not take any shortcuts in job procedures. I had to manage a group between 5 to 10 contractors and to report to my supervisors if at any time there were any issues such as a possible accident, or if deadlines were in jeopardy, or if the overall project goals and expectations were not being met. One example of managing a construction project involved my putting into practice one of the procedures I learned from the ODOT construction manuals. Specifically, I learned that the process for concrete curing and drying. My supervisor, Aaron, asked me to travel to a job site to ensure that the concrete was at a certain height and level to ensure that the contractors appropriately cured and dried the concrete. Based on my observations, I was able to determine when proper procedures were not followed. When a failure occurred, it was my responsibility to call my supervisor to come to the job site to show the supervisor how the contractor followed the procedures. When the supervisor came to the job site, he communicated to the contractor what I observed. The supervisor listened to the explanation and tried to understand the logical reasoning behind why the appropriate procedures were not being followed. Some contractors would rush drying and curing process in order to meet project deadlines. Rushing without properly curing and drying causes the sidewalk to have certain cracks and spots. The reason properly curing and drying is important is that the cracks in the concrete could lead to the strength and development of the concrete being compromised. The supervisors could not be present on every job site and needed an intern to be present at the site to point out key engineering issues that could impact the project overall. My ability to manage and lead contractors was a vital aspect of my job. Overall, I'm not the same person I was when I started this experience because it developed me into a leader. Managing an intern, managing projects, and supervising contractors have contributed greatly to my ability to function effectively on a team, provide leadership, create a collaborative and inclusive environment, establish goals, and meet objectives. The internship experience changed me. As a result of this experience, which greatly contributed to my Baldwin Wallace education, the internship led me to pursue a self-directed interdepartmental major. My new major is engineering project management. I figured out I wanted to develop skills that would enable me to lead the research and development of projects, create detailed project plans, propose budgets, and determine staffing and equipment needs. My academic objectives have evolved and now include learning how to plan, direct, coordinate the development of new procedures, design, processes, or offerings. I also want to develop skills that will enable me to lead in research and development of projects, create detailed project plans, propose budgets, and determine staffing and equipment needs. In addition, a course in creative and design thinking will help me to meet my writing objective by teaching me how to focus on creative and thinking and exposing me to theoretical models of creativity. To achieve my new objective, I developed a curriculum to focus on engineering, management, physics, and mathematics. The foundation of my problem-solving focus will derive from my engineering and physics through the following courses for the major. The courses I have chosen to meet my academic objectives, as these classes will help me to develop my problem-solving skills for my future career goals as a project manager. In addition, to achieve the minor in mathematics, following courses were selected. Overall, through the internship experience, I learned a new important quote by Andrew Williams, which motivates me daily. It says, "Keep your drive. It will always carry you far in life and in career. And most importantly, be the best you and know that you have a place to shine in this world." This quote means that my motivation and hard work will carry me far in life and in my career. Finally, the internship provided a practical experience and valuable information to supplement my education, provided me with meaningful preparation for future and professional employment. And thank you guys for watching this video.
I practiced this for hours, gone round and round, and now I think that I've got it all down. And as I say it louder, love how it sounds, 'cause I'm not taking the easy way out, not wrapping this in ribbons, shouldn't have to give a reason why. It's no surprise I won't be here tomorrow. I can't believe that I stayed till today. Yeah, you and I will be a tough act to follow, but I know in time we'll find this was no surprise. It came out like a river when silent it out.
You just drop like